friendlies, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to my life living in an RV. People constantly, it feels like they want me to be scared, they want me to worry, they want me to be lonely. Not everybody, of course, but that's how it feels sometimes. It's like, you should be scared, or aren't you scared, or aren't you worried, or you're gonna get lost, you're gonna break a leg, or there's gonna be snakes or bears, or Sadie's gonna get hurt, or you're gonna get lost, or strangers are gonna come along and, oh my God, Carolyn, you should be so scared. So I wanna talk about that today. Let's talk about my, loneliness, fear, worry, concern. Let's talk about all of that today and hopefully put your mind at ease, not only for me, because I know a lot of you worry, but also for yourself. If you're someone out there who would love to do more on your own, but fear is holding you back, or concern or worry about all the things that could happen, or you're worried about being lonely, stay tuned. In today's video, I'm going to cover all that and hopefully give you some inspiration and motivation to get over your own hang-ups so that you can live your life fully and authentically.
There ain't nobody gonna do it for you. You got to mind your own.
So first, let's talk about, do I worry about getting lost? Aren't you worried that you're going to get lost? Aren't you worried? Let's talk about snakes and wildlife and Sadie's feet. And oh my gosh, people want me to worry about everything because they worry about everything. But do I worry about getting lost? The answer is no. And how do I manage to not get lost? Well, I talked in a video not too long ago that I have gotten lost twice. Let me see if I can find that video and I'll post it below. I've gotten lost twice since I've been on the road. Once my first year in Oregon, and that was a total freak. I don't know what happened. I literally went like 300 yards from my RV to go to a lake, and I decided to cut through the woods to go back rather than take the road. I got so turned around. It took me 2 hours to find my way back. I was quite lost. And then a couple years ago, I got lost in a state forest in New York near where I was camped. I was using a stone wall as a guide to tell me where I was, and come to find out there were multiple stone walls, big ones, not just little ones, but big ones running, I think, parallel to one another. But so that was kind of my anchor. I kept looking for that every time I veered away. And again, I got lost for like an hour and a half in the pouring rain, with my cup of coffee in my hand. So it does happen. I do get lost, but how do I usually manage to not get lost? Well, I usually am on a road. Almost 90% of the time when I am out camping, there are dirt roads, forest roads, OHV roads, off-highway vehicles. Always, there's a road. So a lot of times I'm just hiking on roads, and I know kind of the area before I go. Part of my process for researching camping is knowing the area that I'm in. What's north, what's south, what's east, what's west. A lot of times I will even scroll in on Google Satellite before I get to a camp. I mean, that's part of my exploring process. What roads are around? What can I drive down to see if there might be camping? And a lot of times I know kind of the layout of the roads. Like here, it's a grid pattern. There's this major road here. There's a major road on the other side of that hill. And then you see there are roads that go up on the hill. So I'm just out here doing a big loop today, which, by the way, this will be in next Sunday's video. This hike as well as this camp. So tune in next Sunday. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss anything. If you want to see a full hike of this area and the beautiful camp and some gorgeous rainy weather we had. But that's how I managed to not get lost. And also, if you've never been to the desert, a lot of parts of the desert that aren't, they don't have a lot of trees, they don't have a lot of brush, they don't have a lot of bush. I'm walking uphill. That video that you saw last week, a lot of people are like, how do you not get lost? I was walking uphill. I could see my RV every second. All I had to do was look up, and I always saw my RV. I always knew where my RV was. I could see it. You're climbing uphill. There's no trees. So I think a lot of people don't understand. They live in places with a lot of trees, so they don't understand how easy it is to see around you. The wind, how easy it is to see everything for miles around you in the desert. So, yeah. The other thing a lot of people ask me is, you could get a Garmin. You should have a Garmin. Well, I have a Spot, which I've had for this went with me on the John Muir Trail. In fact, this is a personal locator device. It's not going to help me if I get, lost. It's not going to help me find my way, but I can push a button to get help in case of an emergency. So it's a personal locator device. The Spot also has roadside assistance. So I pay, I don't know, $300, maybe $350 a year for the Spot service and also roadside assistance. Maybe it's $250. I don't know. I just pay it every year. So I do have a personal locator device when I carry it. I don't always carry it. It's in my backpack. The other thing is if you are worried about getting lost, carry your phone. Even if you don't have a cell signal with Google Maps, you can always, I've always been able to see where I am on the map. It'll even show you what direction you're walking along your path. And I think pretty much even if you don't have a cell signal, it'll show you the general area. It may not always show you detail of roads and things like that, but at least it'll show some roads. So you should be able to find your way, even if you get lost eventually. And that's the other thing. If you do get lost, don't panic. The area that I got lost in New York, I knew it was a state forest that was road locked. It was a square state forest. I don't know, a few thousand square acres, I think. And there are roads on all four sides. So I knew if I walked long enough in one direction, I would hit a road. And that's it. Just don't panic. I mean, it's so hard to get really lost. I mean, unless you're like up north in Frank Church Wilderness or something like that. Actually, that's not true. I mean, there are a lot of national forests where you could very easily get lost. But I don't know. I have a lot of experience. I've hiked tens of thousands of miles alone. I've backpacked hundreds of miles alone. I am aware of my surroundings. I pay attention to landmarks. I always try to know which direction is north, south, east, and west when I'm walking. So I think it just comes naturally to me now. So I don't worry about getting lost. Do I worry about wildlife? No. And I'm not going to keep talking about this. Do I worry about snakes? No. This time of year, they're still hibernating. We have seen one rattlesnake in Pahrump many years ago, came into camp. I'll put a link to that video below. We've encountered wildlife. It's out here. I've done videos about how to stay safe, so I don't worry about it. I just take precautions. I'm smart. I'm aware of my surroundings. And what about Sadie's feet? Sadie is a dog. Gosh, I just, how does she manage to climb on those rocks? How does she manage the cactus? Luckily in Nevada, there's not a lot of cactus. There's little itty bitty ones. It's a bigger issue in Arizona than it is in Nevada. And if she gets something in her paw, she stands there and says, "Mom, please take it out." If she steps on something that hurts, she steps off it. Most of the time it doesn't stick. It just hurts for a minute. She's a pretty tough girl. All right. So that's the question about, do I worry about getting lost? No, I don't. All right. Next question. Let's talk about the L word. No, not that L word. Loneliness. A lot of you ask me all the time, don't you get lonely traveling on the road by yourself? Well, the simple answer is no, I don't. I mean, I can't even remember any times really where I felt lonely, maybe after Capone died. And I do think maybe that's a big part of the reason, I don't know, that I don't get lonely is because I have Sadie. How can I get lonely when I have my beautiful, wonderful soulmate puppy dog? She definitely does keep me company a lot. I make my living online. I think that also helps. I've been talking about that recently and how You know, I really do love it or hate it. I have an online community. Sometimes I wish I could just kind of unplug from it, but I do have an online community, and that has definitely kept me, given me all of the interaction and then some that I need. I'm very much an introvert. I haven't talked about this in a long time. Let's talk about the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. A lot of people think introverts only like to be alone. They don't like people, and extroverts are the ones out there making everything happen. The introverts are just sad, lonely people who don't like people. That is not that's not what it is. An introvert is someone, and I went out and did something that took a lot of energy and a lot of peopling yesterday, and I can be very, very extroverted. I'm probably one of the few, I don't know if it's few or rare, but I'm kind of both. What do they call it? Ambivert, I think is what they call it. I like bivert better. But ambivert, I can be very extroverted. But what that means as an introvert, when I am extroverted, that means I need time to recover. That we as introverts, our batteries get charged through alone time. When I extrovert, and this used to be something that I didn't understand in the early part of my career as a marketer and in therapy, is I would do speaking engagements, and I love being on stage. I really do. I get on stage. I don't think maybe in the beginning I had stage fright, but I really like being on stage. And all of the build up and all of the practice for my speeches and my presentations would then result in 2 or 3 days of crash where I just didn't want to get off the couch. And my therapist explained to me that's introversion. That is what it means to be an introvert who extroverts. That you need to recharge your batteries by being alone. That's what an introvert is. Conversely, an extrovert gets their energy. They get recharged by being out, being with people. I mean, if you're someone who's like, you like people, you like being around people, but it drains you, that probably means you're an introvert. But if you go out and you're around people and all the peopling and doing all the things, and that's where you get your energy and your motivation, and if that's what recharges you, then you're an extrovert. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that, we're all hermits who hate people. I don't hate people. I love people. Actually, I really do. You should have seen me yesterday. Out and about talking to people and leading people, and I'm a natural leader, and I can be, like I said, I can be very extroverted. So with that said, though, I think at my core, I am an introvert. I just love being alone. I know a lot of people just don't like being alone, but I do. And I think that, I don't know, I could dig into my childhood and dig into my background and give explanations for that, but I don't know that that's really necessary. I am just someone who really enjoys my own company, and maybe it is through the more than decade of hard work I have done in therapy. I have said this a bunch of times before, that if you are someone who has not worked through your trauma and your demons, coming out here and living the way I do alone is not a good idea. I think that, especially if you have issues with addiction, food addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, there is no way I could have done this any sooner than I did. I had to heal, or I would have self-destructed out here. I think about the people who have to have music on constantly. A lot of people just love music, but for some people that means you just can't be alone with yourself. You can't be alone. And again, this is some people, not everybody. I think some people just can't be alone with their own thoughts in their head. It's a very uncomfortable place for them. So they constantly need music or something in the background or a distraction. And for those types of people who need that, because they can't be alone with themselves, they can't be alone with their thoughts, my personal opinion is that means you probably haven't worked through your demons, you haven't worked through your trauma, and there's some fear there and some avoidance. I think coming out here and trying to live like this, I think for someone like that, for myself personally, I would have self-destructed even worse. I had to do a lot of work before I was comfortable being alone, really comfortable being alone. And for me, I think the John Muir Trail was kind of the event in my life that either opened my eyes to that or allowed me to be comfortable alone. I don't know, but a 26-day hike alone in the wilderness, it was, for many reasons, it healed me, and it also, well, it helped heal me. There's a lot of things that healed me. It was a very long process. There's not, 10 years of therapy. I'm still healing. But the being alone on the John Muir Trail taught me that I can be alone, that I enjoy being alone with my thoughts and journaling and hiking. And so, no, I don't get lonely. I do have some friends, and especially lately, I'm feeling like I need more community. So I do invite people into my life, and, uh, friends who understand, usually people who are also introverts who understand space and boundaries, and it has worked out really well for me. But it's taken a long time for me to meet the right people. So, yeah, so I really don't get lonely. I don't. How about you? Do you enjoy your own company? Are you someone who can sit in silence and not have distractions and noise in the background? Let me know in the comments below. All right, now let's talk about the big one. Aren't I scared being alone out here all by myself? I've been seeing an uptick of people in comments saying, I would never do that. You're crazy. Safety 101 is to never be out anywhere alone. You're setting yourself up for danger. You better carry a weapon. I mean, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe millions of comments over the years, 8 years that I have been on YouTube, 8.5, telling people sitting at home telling me I should be afraid. I have, can't say this enough, I've hiked thousands and thousands of miles alone. I've backpacked hundreds of miles alone. I have traveled in my RV tens of thousands, 100,000 miles alone, and people sitting at home want me to be afraid. So, number one, I wouldn't be able to live the way I live and do the things that I do being that afraid. And I just broke down the math for somebody in comments, and I did a whole video about this. I'm going to put links to a lot of other videos that back up and kind of drive home the points of a lot of the things that I'm talking about in this video in the description below. So check that out. There are other videos that will help you face fears, get over fears, learn how to stay safe on the road, how to deal with loneliness, you name it. There's all kinds of videos about it. And again, linked below. But I just did the math for somebody in comments, somebody who was like, you're crazy. I could never be out there alone. What's the number one cause of violence against humans? Number one cause of violence, I mean, except for wild animals, but that's so rare. But the number one cause of violence against humans is other humans. And statistically, if you take your emotion out of it a minute and think about this rationally, let me ask you a question. If the number one cause of humans is humans, are you more in danger by putting yourself around more humans or fewer humans? Right? If the number one cause of violence against humans is other people, are you going to be safer around a whole bunch of other people or just a few other people? And I literally broke down the math. If you say that 10% of males are violent toward women, then my chances out here, I encounter, let's say, 5 men a day. If that, the chances of one of those men being a man who is prone to violence is 0.0000016%, like 1 in 2 million, literally. Me encountering a man alone in the middle of nowhere, the chances that one man I encounter is going to harm me is 1 in 2 million. People who live normal traditional lives in the suburbs, in the cities, going out and going to the gym, going to the grocery store, all of those things that you do in your normal life, your chances of getting harmed are 1 in a million. You are twice as likely as I am to get harmed by a stranger. Twice as likely. Think about that for a second. Humans cause violence against other humans, so the more humans you encounter, the higher your chances are. I mean, people are like, what if somebody drives up, blah, 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 blah. What are the chances that is going to be a group of people who are going to harm me? 1 in 2 million. I did the math. And if you are involved with a man, if you have a spouse or a boyfriend, your chances of getting harmed jump from 1 in a million to 1 in 6. 1 in 6. So the fact is, I am safer traveling alone. I mean, and everybody falls back on, well, what if something happens? Who's going to come to help you? Well, if nothing is going to happen because my chances are half yours that something is going to happen, then I don't need help. I don't need to call anybody. And I've done a million videos about how to stay safe. The number one way to stay safe is to trust your gut so that you know something doesn't feel right. This, my case on the Highway of Tears, I think it was, in Canada, something didn't feel right. I got up. I didn't question myself. I just got up and took care of myself. Those are the things that are going to keep me safe for that 1 in 2 million chance. And I've already had my 1 in 2 million chance with that guy in BC. So I'm done. Of course, I'm not. We always take precautions, right? And that is my goal. It's always been my goal of making those those fear-mongering videos or those clickbait videos. My goal has always been to draw people in using their fear to demonstrate they have nothing to fear. Does that make sense? I mean, all those videos I've done about strangers in the middle of the night and the 3 dudes that drove by, that scared me. The 3 dudes in Arkansas that drove by. But the end result has always been, I'm here talking about how it's not that scary. The things, and here is one thing that has been really hitting home for me lately. Fear in our modern day society is a large part based on training, based on indoctrination. Think about the things we are taught to fear, especially now in the current environment, the current political environment. Think about the things that you are taught to fear. Immigrants, trans, gay people, drag queens. We are trained by all the forces in our lives to fear black men. Let's talk about black men. Black men have been the boogeyman since the inception of the United States. We are trained to fear certain things. Groups of men out in the middle of nowhere, hunters because they've got guns. I mean, by movies and by media and by what the news shows, we are trained to fear certain things. But the reality is the things that really harm us, our boyfriends, our husbands, our spouses, our fathers, our brothers, our priests, our coaches, our teachers. Why aren't little girls brought up to say, your priest might want to touch you inappropriately? But no, we are trained to be afraid to go out alone, to rely on the guy at home who is most likely to cause you harm. Let me say that again. You are trained, Little Red Riding Hood, right? I think that's it. Like the big bad wolf. No, there's another fairy tale. But you are trained to fear strangers when you are exponentially more likely to get harmed by the guy sitting next to you. Why are we trained? Why? Think deeper. Question everything. That is my mission in life these days. Question everything. Why are we trained to fear the things we're trained to fear instead of the things that are really harming us? To keep us home, to keep us working, to keep us in the kitchen, to keep us raising the kids, to keep us subservient and compliant and easy to manage. The world doesn't like women like me. I mean, if you could only see the comments I've deleted over the years. The world, at least this country, does not want women like me. We threaten the very fabric of male supremacy, of the patriarchy. So no, I am not afraid out here. Do I take precautions? all the time? Yeah. Am I constantly aware of my surroundings? Yeah. And people will be like, well, that sounds really stressful and you sound really scared. No, it becomes, especially after 9 years, I just celebrated 9 years on April 1st of living this way. It's just innate now. Our whole, gosh, and I think about, I want women for a second, especially. I know this happens to men too, but especially women. I want you to think about the relationships you have been in. And when you had a feeling they were cheating or they were lying. And think about how they gaslit you. You're crazy. Why would, no, that's crazy. Why would I do that? Why would you think that way? You need sleep. You need rest. You need a vacation. You need therapy. All of the ways, even my own father, when I think about it, I didn't really do that to you. Your mother brainwashed you. No. Think about all the ways women are taught to not trust our instincts. From this high, we are taught that little boy kicks you, it's because he likes you. I mean, things like those, like, no, that hurts, that's violence. No, he likes you. I mean, that's the very first time we are taught to not trust your instincts. This is pain. No, it's love, right? Right? And so women are trained to not trust our instincts. And by being out here doing the things that I have done, but I think especially therapy, all the time she taught me early on, even when I was dating, to listen to my gut and to trust my gut. If something doesn't feel right about that guy, it's because something isn't right about that guy. Ended up, he was married, even though he spent Christmas Day with me. I mean, true story. This asshole spent Christmas Day with me. Something never felt right about him. And then a few days later, I found out he was married. True story. And my therapist taught me how to start listening to my gut. And now it's just second nature. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared. I'm scared until I'm not scared. No, I walk through life trusting enough in myself to know that if something is off, my gut and my heart is going to tell me. And then it's going to be time to go. But until then, just enjoy. Just enjoy my life. So no, I don't live in fear. Yes, I make videos sometimes that are a little clickbaity because, like I said, I want to draw you in and show you that a lot of our fear is trained. Is our training, is indoctrination. We have been indoctrinated to fear men in trucks, men at night, driving down forest roads. And I've said this a million times. The world is out there just doing their thing. It completely. I'm irrelevant most of the time, right? They were just out doing whatever they do on that forest road at night. I happened to be there, and whatever they thought about me, whether they thought I was a meth lab or whether they really wanted to make sure I was okay, they weren't there to cause me harm. 1 in 2 million men that I encounter. 1 in 2 million men. And the way I live, it'll take me 50 years to encounter 2 million men. It'll take you 25 years to encounter 1 million men. So you are twice as likely to be harmed by a stranger than I am. So that's how I see it. That's my other channel. But anyway, those are the 3 questions, the 3 topics that I'm still seeing the most. And it's always good to remind people of these things because I know not everybody watches every video, but I'm not afraid of being out here alone. I don't get lonely. I don't worry about every little thing that can go wrong. I trust in myself enough to know that no matter what happens, if I break an ankle on a mountain, if I break down in the desert, if somebody does come along and scare me, I trust in myself and my experience enough to know I will find a way out. I have found my way out of some pretty awful things, and I will continue to. I'm a survivor. It's what I do. So, all right. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts and how you learn to get over your fears. Why don't we do that? Tell me how you learn to get over your fears. And if you like my content, subscribe to my channel below and hit the thumbs up. thumbs up and comments, do all that stuff. It helps the algorithm, helps my channel to continue to grow so that I can continue to bring free content for everybody to enjoy. And click that bell below too, because I notice even in my own feed, YouTube just stopped showing me some of my favorite channels. Like, they're just not even coming up anymore. And I hear that a lot from you guys. You're like, where have you been? I haven't seen you in 3 years. I'm like, I've been here. So click the bell and set your notifications. So every time I put out a new video, you are notified, because you don't want to miss anything. You never know what's going to happen, where I'm going to end up, who I'm going to piss off next. All right, I'll see you next time. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. And Sadie's out here somewhere. We got to go in. It's getting hot. Oh, there she is. Hi. You want to come say hi? Come on, come say hi. Oh, look. Oh, oh, I love you. Come here, say hi. Look. You need a drink? Okay. All right, look. Okay, bye.